Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Last of Us DLC, Left Behind, Survivor Difficulty video walkthrough. That is another big old mouthful of words which I'm not going to enjoy saying on every part of this series, so instead I'm just going to say the name of the DLC and the difficulty to make it run a little bit smoother. But there's only 3 parts because brevity is definitely one of the delicious parts of the new DLC. And what a fantastic excuse to not be playing Lightning Returns, in my case. So this is The Last of Us. This is the first time I've touched the game since I made the guide, which is nearly a year ago now. I'm not too sure when the game came out. My dates are a little bit off. And I forget just how good this game is when I don't play it. And it's a big shame that it's PlayStation 3 exclusive, but to be completely honest, folks, I don't think this game could exist on Xbox because it's just not powerful enough. This game is better looking than some of the next-gen titles. It is literally that delicious, and the videos really do not give it the, just the full marvel that it deserves, because when you're playing it on a big TV and you've got, your surround sound headset on, and it's a marvelous looking and sounding game. But we're playing as Ellie, and the DLC takes place in between when Joel gets injured and when you go out hunting in the main game. And this is a piece of DLC that is so good, in spite of its short length, that I personally think it should have been in the game, and it wouldn't surprise me if this is a level that got cut, because it just seems to fit perfectly. They do not introduce any new crazy concepts, they do not break anything, they do not ruin anything. It is literally maybe a 2-hour exposition adventure into the backstory of Ellie, with the mechanics that you know and with some interesting situations to enjoy. And the way that I'm playing this guide is not the way that you want to enjoy the DLC. I'm running from A to B, I know exactly what's coming, I'm skipping all the interesting stuff because I've heard it, and it's really a disservice to how good this piece of content is, because there's so many little subtle details, there's so much voice work, there's so much interesting stuff. It truly is really, really good. I enjoyed it a lot. But this is our first encounter with the infected. It is a clicker, so if you've played the game before, you should know that thing is blind. It hears kind of the same way a bat does, by using sonar with the clicks to send out a little impulse to map its world. And the best way to deal with them is to not deal with them. Just throw a brick or a bottle, get them away from where you need to be, and then continue with your life. Couple of differences on difficulty here, folks. This is Survivor. It is the hardest difficulty on the game. You take the most damage, the resources are the most scarce, and one additional thing that you don't see on hard is with the clickers. Clickers can hear you even when you're crouch walking, so you have to lightly brush the analog, which I wasn't a big fan of in the main game, and I'm still not, but in the grand scheme of stuff, it's not too bad. So, a lot of cinematic moments on this, a lot of interesting, expositional moments. God, I forget how much I enjoy the storytelling of The Last of Us and Naughty Dog in general, and then I remember just how truly fucking dreadful Lightning Returns storytelling is, and it it just makes me rejoice that we have this game. But now that I've examined the corpse, we've got some further medical stuff. When you hop over this banister, it's going to show you the main framing device of the DLC. The framing device are flashbacks, and the flashbacks are introducing you to this character. I think she's called Ripley. I might be wrong. It's, I've literally just finished playing it and then recording it, so my mind's a little bit all over the place. But essentially what this is you're going to be following your friend and indulging in friend activities in a world where there is an infection, there is quarantine, but there's still hope, there's still, there's still a semblance of normal life. And it acts as a perfect buffer to the combat and to the sequences in the real time, in the snow, with an Ellie that is much different to the one that's being portrayed in these flashbacks. And The Last of Us really does live and die by its story, which is why, even if it's not the most momentous or epic thing happening, it's just two friends who haven't seen each other for a long time, and then just the arduous conquest of Ellie trying to salvage and save Joel. That is literally all that is happening. It is 2 beats on the storyline, but it still has more character, more emotion, and just more depth and enjoyability than 90% of the plots in games, and it's one of the reasons why this stands out so well. Also, the pacing is perfect. It's got some fantastic pacing on the DLC. There's me trying to skip this, which you can't do with the looks of it, and you probably would die if you tried. Not that the game will let you. And occasionally you're going to see me pause it when I'm trying to skip cutscenes, but whenever the game is in engine like this, as opposed to the pre-rendered stuff, it doesn't allow you to skip anything.
Man. Sorry.
But as far as the content goes, there's a lot more exploration, discovery than there is combat, and I'm happy for that because I think it's the best part of the game. The combat that is in here does feature some interesting mechanics as far as... I don't really remember playing the humans and the infected off against each other too much in the main game, but you do it quite a lot in this, which is super cool. And aside from that, there's just a handful of encounters. You will be using a bow, and the bow is the most powerful weapon on the game in my opinion. As far as weapons go, you get a pistol and you get a rifle, but both of them don't have that much ammo, so if you're expecting to gun your way through this on Survivor, you're probably playing it wrong. So the strategies you're going to see me using and utilising quite a lot are going to be hit and run tactics, staying as hidden as well as I can, and utilising the bottle or brick stun into instant execution, which, if you've never done it before, if you equip the bottle or the brick, throw it quickly with the right trigger when it locks on, it'll stun the infected or the humans, depending on who you do it to, and then if you run up to them and press square, you will then finish them off with a rather visceral stabbing animation, and it saves ammo, it's very quick. The only problems with it is before and afterwards you're completely vulnerable, so if there's anybody around you they can then attack you. And aside from that, it's pretty loud, so if you do it close to somebody else, chances are they'll probably hear you. But I can honestly say, and I don't know why I'm stressing my honesty, it's just a word that helps me think before I use the words I'm trying to say. When people say it in all honesty or to be fair, it always makes me wonder, are they normally dishonest or somehow unfair? You know, are they quite a nefarious character? But it's just a habit more than anything. So, all these moments here you might be thinking, well, you're just running to doors and giving people leg ups. That seems pretty standard, pretty boring, a decent way to hide a load screen, but not much else. It's the things you don't see in my walkthrough that are the quality sections. The sections where you and your friend interact with things, and there's even a section where she reads a joke book, and in the main game there were these hidden jokes, and I think there's a trophy tied to them, but I never bothered. But on this one they do an homage to that sequence, and you can literally read off dozens of jokes from a book. And I say jokes, they're more puns than anything else. And some of them are good, some of them are pretty, cringeworthy, but occasionally there's a handful of really good ones. And then a sequence like this where you get to try on Halloween masks and interact with your friend. And I thought I could skip this by hitting the door and getting on with the game, because the game has been extremely flexible with me pushing the scripting, but on this one I believe you have to pick up the wolf helm, the wolf mask, before you can continue. And she's got a crazy, sweet tooth clown mask. So all the coulrophobes are probably having a really hard time right now. And throughout the sequence of this, you're going to be doing some mini games, and some of them are pretty light-hearted. And they range from breaking windows on cars to this little raw section here where you get to tap triangle, and all the way up to a water gun fight, which is kind of like a search and destroy situation of, one-hit kills, really tense, and an imaginary fighting game, which is kind of a touching scene and a decent bit of gameplay, when all it is really is a quick time event, but they managed to mask it with nostalgia and some pretty nice visuals, so I can't really recommend this enough. I do have to say that at £11, I think it was for me, or $11.99, which that's like $20 or something crazy, because the conversion rate's pretty mad. It's a lot of money, and it is short. I can't say anything other than that. But if you've bought DLC before, you're already well aware that most of them never live up to the spectacle of the game. A lot of them are incredibly disappointing, and you kind of wish you'd not bought them. And in spite of this game's short length, it is still so worth playing. In fact, it makes me want to play the game again, which is the sign of A, a good DLC, and B, a good game. But in about 10 days, on my time anyhow, Castlevania Lord of Shadows 2 comes out, so I'm going to have to be focusing on that, so I can't really get all the way back into The Last of Us, even if I would want to. But this sequence here, as you can see, you might be wondering why I'm aiming so slowly, and there's a really good reason for it. The analogs on my Xbox controller are so dead, and the dead angles on them are so deep, that it's like turning a newborn, it's like turning an infant's head, controlling my analogs, and I'm so used to the pressure of having to be forceful with them, that when I put my PlayStation 3 on with its ridiculously lightning fast, super sensitive sticks, I can't aim for shit. And it takes me a couple of minutes to get going, so you'll have to bear with bad accuracy.
Not much. I gathered that they were friends even before the
But I don't know what happens if you lose this little exchange. I do know that when you win most of them, you get trophies. Because you get a trophy for doing this, I believe. Or is it this one? I know you get one for the water fight.
Let me show you this thing.
I think you get one for this. You get one for the beat 'em up, definitely, if you do a perfect victory. But I didn't check the trophies because I'm not really a trophy guy, unfortunately. And if you're following this video, you will get the... Is it a silver trophy for beating the DLC on Survivor difficulty? But I was tempted to actually trim these moments out, because a part of me doesn't want to ruin it for the people wanting to play. Like, big shout out to Hobo Jesus, who actually made this DLC possible. And you might be wondering what I mean by that. Well, Hobo is a subscriber who's been with me quite some time now, and he's probably the most generous one I have. And it's just insane, his generosity and his willingness to help the channel, and he donated money to put towards this DLC. And it turns out I already had some money on my PlayStation account, so I didn't have to dabble into it, but I'm just going to say that that is the money that would have been taken from him, because he wanted it, and this is for you, dude, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. But yeah, Hobo Jesus is a genius, he's an awesome dude, and it's thanks to him that I'm able to do this right now, and I'm really happy about that, because it was a fantastic experience. But we're controlling Ellie in the present, and you're going to notice that I run over here and pick up a bobble. A bobble? That is not a bobble. She has a bobble in her hair, and occasionally she might move with a slight bobble, but that is a bottle. Or as my sister likes to say, bockle, which I correct every time she says it, and just want to backhand her and her common tongue. But this is a really cheeky moment in the game, because the contrivance of The Last of Us normally stands as far as, if there are spores, it signifies combat with infected. If there are no spores, then it's generally nothing there. But on this instance, there are stalkers, and it doesn't warn you about them. And the stalkers turn up as soon as you pick up that can, once you do this engine here, this Alan Wake machine, this generator. And I didn't realise, so I ran forward, I didn't really hear the audio cue, and I got bit on my first playthrough. But luckily enough, I've got a decent strategy to do this. The safe strategy is, go to the door that you came in. For some reason, the stalkers cannot exit this room, so they'll just stand near the door and run around like idiots. And all you do is you throw a bottle at one, you instantly execute it with square, you run away and pick up another bottle, and then you come back. So on this particular run, I get cocky and I don't use that strategy. I use it a little bit, but my game glitches out, which is really unfortunate. So this is the combo. Bottle to execution. He drops a pistol if you want to pick it up. But I'm too busy running over here so I can get the second item in time for this guy. This guy's going to drop from the roof. So as soon as he drops, there he is. Hit him with a brick, stab him in the face, and I'm going to make my way back to the entrance of the room to get another bottle. So you'll notice there's two more of these stalkers here. There are 4 in total. He climbs up, I climb down, and I'm just going to leg it. And you can get unlucky here because the AI is really gifted at cutting you off, especially the standard human-esque zombie dudes. I forget the name of them. The ones that are quite passive unless you activate them. They can be really good at it, like bloody linebackers. But this is the door that you can exploit. Because for some reason, as long as you don't stand too close to the doorway, they can't get you. But the strangest thing happens here, so I know that there's 2 left. I know I've got a brick for 1. Here is the one who's left. This is me showing you the trick I'm mentioning. So all that needs to be done, and what you can do as well if you pick up the gun, is you can use the corner trick of third-person shooters where you exploit the camera to shoot around walls. And it works perfectly. The only problem is the stalkers move so goddamn much, it's really difficult to get a headshot. And if you didn't know, the stalkers will come for you if you don't have the camera on them, so that's why I did that just then. But there's the combo on her. And then the last one just doesn't come. It doesn't show up, doesn't make itself known, and it takes a while for me to get it. And it turns out, for some reason, it fell into the world. So it clipped through that shelf I mantled up to where that dude dropped on the back of that flatbed truck. So it's physically stuck in the geometry and it can't move. It's just running, but it's not going anywhere. And it allows me to shoot it in the face, but before I shoot it in the face, I'm kind of waiting to see whether or not it's going to come out of the wall. Because I was contemplating restarting. Because this is one of the worst things that can happen if you're a guide maker. And you might be thinking, well, it's funny to see, and it is. It's really funny to see. But if this doesn't happen for you, and I was using, you know, a very specific strategy, what the hell does me getting a 1 in a million glitch help anybody else? It can be really tricky. So you're going to see a tentative motion through this room, which is not needed at all, because it's stuck all the way over there, and I'm looking for it, and I just cannot see it. I'm like, where is this bastard gone? And I can hear it now, but I can't see it. And I see it on the recording because I know where to look, but at the moment when I'm playing I couldn't see it. Look, I still can't see it. I'm like, where is this thing? And if you've got good eyes and you kind of know where I'm meaning, you should have been able to see its head clipping through the geometry, but I just couldn't. So I'm running around this room wondering, have I broke the game? Because the stalkers are really good at finding you, so you know for a certain if I've had this long in this room unhindered that something is wrong. And I think I see it now. You see it? There it is. So it's just kind of stuck there. And I tried throwing a brick at it to see if I can hit it, and I just end up breaking my brick. And you'll notice I pull my gun out, but I haven't picked up the ammunition for it, which was on that body. So I do that, get nothing, and I think I go up to the wall and try slashing it. Get nothing, don't even get injured. I expected to get grabbed, but it looks like it's swimming. So that doesn't work, and then I think I'll go and get some ammo off the body. And I go to the wrong body. So thinking back, I should have probably restarted this so I could get a cleaner recording for the purposes of the guide. But at least it's something, you know, you don't see every day. This might be unique to my walkthrough because everybody else's game worked fine. But the body's just there. There's the bullets. Now I've got the bullets. I noticed that she's got further out of the wall, so I'm hoping she manages to run to me so I can save some ammunition. And I get a little bit closer, hoping to make it an easier shot, but it doesn't become an easier shot because she moves every time I put my gun on her. And I'm just waiting, What's she doing? Come on, get out of the wall. And I'd shoot her in the face. So a little bit disappointing to see, but I'm telling you now, guys, there's almost no chance that'll happen to you. It just seems to be one of those unlucky things. And the only thing left to do now is to siphon the gas out of this truck here. This is the same one every time. I don't think the other trucks give you anything.
Right, how do you do this?
So stick your nozzle in.
Just siphon it out, right?
And then all you need to do is go back to the generator, crank the generator, and then I will see you in the next video, folks. So as always, thank you for watching. I hope you're excited to see where this DLC goes. And yeah, you take care now.
Come on. All right. Don't touch electric water. Got it.